Right now, more than $400 billion in debt is sitting completely invisible to the system designed to track it. Not hidden by criminals, not sitting in some secret offshore account, sitting in plain sight, inside an app you probably already have on your own phone right now. It's called Buy Now, Pay Later, and it might be the biggest blind spot in the entire American financial system. Over 79 million Americans used a Buy Now, Pay Later plan last year. That's roughly 1 in every 5 active credit card holders in the entire country. You've seen it at checkout 100 times. Split your payment into 4 easy installments, 0 interest, approved in seconds. It feels harmless, almost like a coupon. But here's the part almost nobody explains clearly. For most of this industry's history, these loans were completely invisible to your credit report. Not lower risk, not safer, just invisible. A missed $50 payment on a pair of sneakers left 0 trace on your credit file for years. It didn't help responsible borrowers build their credit, and it didn't warn future lenders that a borrower already had other installment payments piling up somewhere else. Economists have a specific name for this. They call it phantom debt. Debt the system simply cannot see. And debt the system cannot see is debt the system cannot price correctly. The fastest growth in Buy Now, Pay Later usage right now isn't coming from careful shoppers optimizing their monthly cash flow. It's concentrated most heavily among renters, families with children, and households earning under $40,000 a year. In other words, the exact households with the least amount of financial cushion are the ones quietly stacking up the most invisible debt. And most users aren't using just one of these plans at a time either. Recent research shows a majority of Buy Now, Pay Later users have multiple loans open simultaneously, often spread across several different apps at once, which means the total monthly obligations someone is actually carrying can be scattered across 4, 5, even 6 different platforms, with no single place that shows the full picture, not even to the person carrying the debt themselves. And here's where it gets genuinely concerning. Late payment rates have been climbing fast. Some surveys now put the share of users who've missed at least one payment as high as 47%, up sharply from just a few years ago, nearly half. Klarna and Afterpay have historically been more cautious about reporting to bureaus than Affirm, but the pressure on every provider in this space to start reporting is mounting fast, which means millions of users who built their entire spending habits around one specific assumption, that these small purchases stayed invisible, are about to find out that assumption was never actually guaranteed to last. That invisibility everyone relied on is also starting to disappear. Affirm began reporting loans directly to credit bureaus back in 2025. FICO has since built a scoring model specifically designed to read Buy Now, Pay Later payment history, which means the exact thing that made these loans feel low stakes, the fact that nobody else could see them, is quietly going away. If you've been treating Buy Now, Pay Later as consequence-free because it never showed up anywhere, that assumption is no longer safe. There's another wrinkle most people don't know about either. Regulators briefly tried classifying these providers the same way credit card companies are classified, which would have given users the same dispute rights credit card holders already have. That rule was reversed in 2025 and hasn't been replaced since, which means Buy Now, Pay Later users currently have fewer formal consumer protections than someone using an ordinary credit card for a very similar kind of debt.
Now, to be fair, this isn't a full-blown crisis, at least not yet. Default rates on these loans have actually stayed relatively low, well under typical credit card charge-off rates. Most researchers still agree the direct threat to the overall financial system looks limited for now. But limited system-wide risk is very different from limited risk to any one individual person juggling 5 of these plans at once, with no single place actually tracking the total. There's a real-world example of exactly how this plays out. Imagine someone financing a new phone through one app, a mattress through a second app, and holiday gifts through a third, all within the same month. Each individual payment looks small and manageable on its own. $40 here, $60 there. But added together across all three apps, that person could easily be carrying several $100s in monthly obligations they've never once seen combined into a single number. This invisible stacking is exactly why housing groups have started pushing regulators to factor buy now, pay later payments into mortgage underwriting, because unreported installment debt can quietly distort how much house someone can actually afford. If this sounds a little familiar, it should. Financial history is full of moments where a new type of debt grew quietly, precisely because it sat just outside the systems built to measure risk. That doesn't automatically mean buy now, pay later becomes the next major crisis. Most experts genuinely don't think it will, at least not at its current size. But it does mean the warning signs are worth paying attention to now, while they're still small, instead of waiting to notice them only once they're not. So, what does this actually mean for you, personally, sitting here watching this right now? If you're using one of these plans, the math you actually need to do isn't per purchase, it's total. Add up every single active plan you currently have open across every single app, all at once. Most people have genuinely never done that addition because the apps are specifically designed to make each purchase feel small and completely separate from the others. Here's the simplest thing you can actually do about this today. Before opening a new buy now, pay later plan, check your other open plans first and treat the combined total exactly like you'd treat a credit card balance, because increasingly, that's exactly how it's about to be treated. If you're regularly using these plans just to afford things you couldn't otherwise pay for outright, that's usually the clearest sign the debt has quietly become bigger than it feels. A simple habit that actually works. Once a month, open every single shopping and payment app you use and write down every active installment plan in one place, even if it only takes 5 minutes. Seeing the real total in one number changes how these purchases feel almost immediately, in a way that scrolling past 4 separate small charges never will. None of this means buy now, pay later is inherently dangerous for everyone who uses it. Used occasionally and paid off exactly on time, it can genuinely be a useful, interest-free tool. But a financial product's biggest risk has never really been how it behaves when used carefully. It's how it behaves once millions of people can no longer see the full picture of what they actually owe. And for a growing number of Americans right now, that picture just got a lot harder to see clearly. If this helped you understand what's actually happening with buy now, pay later right now, follow Dollar Den. We break down real financial stories every single week without the confusing jargon, so you always know exactly where you stand.